What's up everyone? Welcome back to the Greenville Living Experience. In today's video, we're going over all things Taylor, South Carolina. And you might be asking yourself, where the heck is Taylor, South Carolina, and why do I care about it? Well, you should care about it because it just ranked the #2 best place to live around Greenville according to niche.com. And in today's video, I'm going to be going over why exactly it ranked that high on the list. So let's jump into it. So before I jump into all of the amazing things that you can do here in Taylor's, I'm gonna first talk about where exactly it's located. So Taylor, South Carolina is located just northeast of Greenville. It probably is gonna take you about 20-ish minutes to get from Taylor's into downtown Greenville. And Taylor's is also sandwiched and runs up against Greer, South Carolina, which if you've watched my other video, you'll know some things about the Greer area. And so because Taylor runs up against Greer and it is in that north part of the county, you're gonna see things like the mountains closer to this area. You may get very lucky depending on how far out into Taylor's you're gonna get if you have mountain views or not. But the cool thing is that because you are in the northern territory of Greenville County, the pro that you have of living out here is that you're not going to be right on top of your neighbors most likely. You're going to see things that are a little bit more spread out. There are still housing communities here in the area, but not as many as you're going to find in like the Simpsonville, Five Forks area. So if you're someone that doesn't want to be right on top of your neighbors, you want a little bit more space, but you still want to be close to the Greenville area and you still want to be close to the mountains, then Taylor's might be a good spot for you to look into. Like I said, you can see the mountains from parts of Taylor's, and because of that, that means the mountains are only a quick 45-50 minute drive away to get up to the Hendersonville area or into the Asheville area right at about an hour. And so it makes Taylor's a really great focal point for that. But if you're also someone who loves outdoor recreation, Taylor's here is also close to Paris Mountain State Park, and so you're also going to have that locally that you can visit, or the short trip to the mountains to do all of your mountain related outdoor activities if that floats your boat as well. Now, because it is located closer to that northern side of the territory of the county, you're gonna be further away from your I-85, I-385 corridors, which means that getting into town, getting around is gonna be a little bit more time extensive than your other places that are close to those. So if you're someone that likes more of that small town, more rural feeling, this is probably going to be a good place for you to start looking. And the other thing to note is that yes, Taylor's is rural and you can feel like you're really far out there, but it's pretty close to Wade Hampton. And so Wade Hampton has all of your major shopping chains, restaurants, and things that you're gonna need along that corridor. So things like, you know, your Walmarts, your grocery stores, Target, Ulta, your restaurants, any of your chain restaurants, all of your fast food chain restaurants, places like that are going to be along Wade Hampton. So you're not going to see more of those local and small business restaurants on that, but anything major that you're going to need is going to be along that corridor, and you can usually get to Wade Hampton in about 10 minutes, maybe less than that, depending on how far out into Taylor's you are. I mean, you could be as little as 2 minutes from Wade Hampton Boulevard in the Taylor's area. So you have a good expanse to choose from on if you want to be further out or closer in, but still feel like you're further out, which is probably one of the reasons that Taylor's ranks so highly. Now, the other thing to note about Taylor's is that it does not actually have a downtown area, unlike some of the other places that we've discussed on this channel, but it does have a really cool place called Taylor's Mill. Taylor's Mill is a huge staple here in the community. It actually used to be a bleachery and printmaking shop back when it was first established in the 1900s. I actually think Taylor's was established in the 1800s, but the bleachery was really big around the early 1900s. And so it's a huge part of the community. It's been a huge part of the community for a long time. And when the bleachery went out of business, then they transformed the area into the Taylor's Mill that we know it today, Within the mill area, you're gonna find a brewery, restaurant, arcade, rage room, CrossFit gym. I mean, there's a lot in this little area that you can do, and it's a huge staple for the community that a lot of people go to every weekend to hang out in. And it is a place that if you're gonna be in Taylor's, you're definitely gonna wanna get familiar with, or even if you live around the Taylor's area or in one of the other parts of the Greenville County, Taylor's Mill is definitely somewhere where you should check out, even if you're just gonna visit for a day when you're in town. So the other thing that Taylor's has in the area is the Pavilion Recreation Complex through the Greenville County Recreation Department. And so they have come through and they have made this cute little recreation complex, and it's got everything that your other recreation complexes have, things like your playgrounds, your walking trails, your tennis courts. They've got places where you can go inline skating. They've got a dog park. So all of those things are located right there in the Pavilion complex. And you can also rent out some of the pavilions in the complex as well if you wanted to host like a birthday party or event for friends and family members. And so this is another great hotspot in the Taylor's area if you and your family like to be outdoors and want to be, again, a little bit away from the hustle and bustle of the city. This is a great area to do that in. For all of my golf lovers, don't worry, Taylor's has you covered. The Pebble Creek Country Club is open to the public, so you do not have to have a membership to play here, but they do have membership options available if you want, if you're a really avid golfer. And so this is a golf course that has just been remodeled and keeps up with the beauty of the upstate, and it has 27 championship holes across acres of land. It also has a full practice facility with a driving range and 2 putting greens as well. Another really cool feature that the Taylor area has is the Otter Creek Water Park. And so Otter Creek Water Park is a smaller water park in the area. It consists of slides, your lounging pool, your sun deck, your splash pad, and you can rent the huts in the area as well, and they have lockers that you can rent as well for the day if you're taking your family. But a really great summer activity to do if you're in the area on a really hot day, because it does get hot here in South Carolina, so make sure you go check out my other videos if you want to know what the weather is like, especially in the summertime here, and what you can expect. So you heard me mention earlier, Paris Mountain State Park is also within the Taylor's area. And so Paris Mountain State Park is a huge driving point for a lot of people here. And so Paris Mountain State Park allows you to fish, swim, hike, bike. They've got playgrounds, they've got pedal boats. Anything that you want to do is pretty much possible within the state park. And so this is a beautiful place to go, whether it's summer, winter, doesn't matter, open year-round to you and your family to access, and it's just a beautiful place to be. So I highly encourage you, even if you don't live in the Taylor's area and you live even further towards town, even if you get out to Simpsonville and Five Forks, make sure you take a day trip to the Paris Mountain State Park, because it is worth the trip, especially for those of you who love your outdoor recreation. And that's a wrap on today's video. I hope you enjoyed today's video, that you learned a lot about Taylor, South Carolina. If Taylor, South Carolina feels like it might be a good fit for you or your family, please do not hesitate to reach out. You can find a link in the description box below to fill out to work with me directly, and we can get you and your family set up on their next home journey here in the Greenville County area.